think we're up and running. Welcome, guys. We're going to record the Mids Watch live. Don't know if guys are here yet or not. If you are, you catch the early part. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to record the audio on this one, and once we're done, we'll do some chit chat, and then I got to see if I can get another one or two of these out. If you're watching this after the fact, I put them up on Patreon afterwards. They're only up for a few days, so if you're seeing those, welcome to the Patreon. Hope you enjoy yourself. I'll see you on Thursday. It's a pretty straightforward one, but I like it because it's one of those, like stuff's just important. Like lifting. It's the only thing everybody can agree on. And it kind of had a nice little ring to it when you see some guys, they're listening to their wives and they manipulate them through ego. I actually have a post on this, so I was going to kind of touch on that. But the post itself is straightforward and typical. It's the guy deleting his own stuff afterwards, so you never really see it. But I liked it anyways. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to get started. All right. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good field report. Welcome to the Mids Watch. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself, drinking yourself a coffee. If you don't know, we just got the new merch line out. Hope you're enjoying your brand new Don't Eat Paint mug, wearing a Don't Eat Paint shirt, having the thought you had over last night, stealing your Don't Eat Paint hoodie. Anyways, this one is a pretty straightforward field report. It's typical. I mean, you guys have noticed the trend right now is that guys will come in, ask a question, expose a huge amount of insecurities, covert contracts, vulnerabilities. Other people basically don't coddle them. They don't BS them. They give them straight up what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And then after the one question, they delete their account and they lose all traces of them. This guy actually went through a lot of effort, which is weird because all he's doing is talking about fitness. So he did his little fitness talk. So the post is called I Like Skinny Guys. And the link to it's in the description if you want to check it out for yourself, but there's not much to it. And it's been lost in time. Even the archives have totally lost it. The gist of it is he's about 130 pounds, which I don't care how tall you are. That's like emaciated, very skinny. Auschwitz skinny. And he comes in here, it's like, yeah, guys, I was working on my map. I do a little bit of working out, but it's mostly exercise and cardio and cycling as opposed to weightlifting and eating. My wife says she thinks I am great at this size. And what do I do? So there's 3 points to take away from this. The first is going to be the folly of listening to your woman, especially when you're working on your male action plan or you're becoming red-pilled or you're fixing the things that you find untenable in your relationship, the things that you know you're slacking on, the things that you aren't doing right, the things that you need to fix. So listening to your woman and her ulterior motive. The second one is I like it. I've referenced him a few times here. The guy's name is The Litz. He's probably my favorite and most boring field report over like a 2-year period of all time. So he just did 2 years of slow and steady work, made mistakes, self-reflected, did what I call is an OODA loop. And if you don't know what that is, that stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. It's a term taken from a lot of strategic thinking in the U.S. Air Force. The idea being the more often you can cycle through this rotation, the more air superiority you're going to have. It turns out when it comes to anything that requires you to think on your feet and not follow a rote memorization plan, it's a great strategy. And for red pill guys, I find the ones that do the best are the ones that implement it more often. But it's going to be his thoughts on it as well. And then we'll end it off with some talk about the Pareto principle and how it kind of plays out. So it's interesting. Anyways, I'm going to get started. So listening to your woman, what are you talking about with the ulterior motive? The ulterior motive, flat out, is guys assume that their wives are on the same page as them. They assume they're on the same team. They're assuming she has no incentives other than his incentives. If he wants it, why wouldn't she want it? Again, this is it's a weird form of like unhealthy narcissism. What the hell does that mean? Why would you call it narcissism? Isn't it a guy just trusting his wife? It's like, no. Here's the problem. If you assume your wife is just an extension of you, you guys think the same, you talk the same, you look the same, everything about you is the same, you're interchangeable, men are like women, blank slate equalism. Even if you don't think about it like that way, you're acting like it's that way. Here's what happens. You get to that situation and you don't understand why she's acting differently. It's because girls have their own incentives. So in the case of asking if I want to be more fit, if I want to dress better, girls are looking at that thinking not, well, if he looks better and he dresses better and he's more fit, that's going to be all benefit for me. They would think about it the way a girl does it. And if a girl just starts working out, losing weight out of nowhere with no, external thing, like she hasn't nagged you to do it or whatever, her first thought going through her head is, if I were to do this, it'd be because I'm about to leave this guy and find me another man. So she's automatically got the jealousy shield up, right? She gets the jealousy going up, a little worried about it. And so what does a girl do in this situation? Well, it turns out girls have horrible game too. They mate guard. This is why whenever you see a married guy, girls always fatten him up. They throw Kirkland signature clothes on him that barely match. They make him look as absolutely unattractive as possible. And it's a weird self-destructive mindset that the girls go through. They'll literally make the guy unattractive so nobody else will want him, so she doesn't have that anxiety of losing her man. But the problem comes with, then she's no longer attracted to him either. So she got everything she wants, and now she's not happy. And this is why guys with no frame are bad, because they don't understand this dynamic. So in this case, he's 130 pounds, whatever, right? No. He's 130 pounds. He's emaciated, super skinny. He could do well to put on 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds of fat, or 40 pounds of muscle. He also claims to be about 17% body fat, so he's skinny fat. I don't know, maybe his fat's all in his liver. But where he would normally think, like, this is healthy and I should do it if he had his internal values in order, he's listening to his wife and he's listening to her internal values. And her internal values are, anything that makes me slightly anxious is bad. Therefore, you look perfect the way you are. And it's strange because guys will be like, my girl wouldn't lie to me. It's like, she's not lying. She absolutely 100% believes this, because I've told you many times about self-delusion and its effect on the sexual marketplace. And in this case, the self-delusion is she truly believes that if you stay the way you are, you're 130 pounds, you're 17% body fat, I think you're sexy as hell just the way you are. In her brain, she's like, I don't want to lose your man to another man, so just say these things and believe them. And then she believes them, and then she says it convincingly, and you can't tell she's lying, because according to her, she's not lying. There's no tells. You can always spot a liar. Well, if she doesn't think she's lying, you can't. That's the problem with these things. Listening to your woman, an ulterior motive. I think Royce had a great article. If you guys don't know, that's Chateau Artiste. He's kind of like one of the original writers in this space, and he had a post where letting your woman dress you is the easiest way to make yourself unattractive, or unfuckable, as he puts it. He said, with certain exceptions. He said the one exception is a girl that's in a high status, career thing, fashion or whatever, and you're an extension of her ego. And the other option is if, I don't know, if you're married to a gay guy. Gay guy's like looking stylish there. That was his words, not mine. I don't want this stricken down for terms of service anyways. So that's the problem with listening to your woman. And this guy, he kind of buys into the delusion, and I kind of like it because it's such a simple post. It's just talking about lifting, but literally the big problem that every guy has is a girl will lie to them for that same reason. She's insecure about something. She's anxious about something. And so she'll say these things because it staves off her anxiety, even though she doesn't believe them. She forces herself to believe them. And the guy, because from his ego, imagine this, being a guy, and your woman says, hey, you would look great with 40 pounds of muscle and 10 pounds less fat. It's a big shot to a guy's ego. So when she feeds this little lie to him, of course he's going to accept it. I mean, who doesn't want to be told you're perfect the way you are? And I love it. Everybody always hears that. Oh, that's the Disney lie. You're perfect the way you are. Except for nobody ever maps it to anything that actually happens in real life. And this is it. It's the same thing. I'm sure any guy here who's in a relationship, they'll probably pick up the same thing where it's the girl's sitting there. It's like, oh, I like you just the way you are. Oh, I think this is more of you to love. Telling you look great with that extra 20 pounds. It's not that you actually look great with those 20 pounds. It's that she has no anxiety about losing you to somebody. And to her, that just feels good. It's like a dopamine hit. It's the same thing as guys watching porn, or guys playing video games, or guys smoking weed, guys doing drugs. For a girl, what's the difference? Online shopping and emasculating her man. Who'da thunk? But that's fine. It's not, you can't blame her for it. You can't get mad at her. You can't feed her Red Bulls and then kick her off the podcast. All you can really do is just accept that's the way she is. It's like the parable, the scorpion and the frog. You can't accept her. You can't expect her to be anything that she's not. And it ties into a great red-pilled concept where guys truly start to get it. Because I'm tired of those arguments. Oh, you're supposed to hate women, or you gotta hate your... No. You just can't love them the way you think you do. You have to love them the way they are. Accept somebody for who they are, which is weird and counterintuitive. But yeah, it turns out accepting you for the way you are, not on. Accept her for the way she is, on. Men and women just aren't the same. We're different. And so I guess, and then I'll get to the Jack thing here during the Pareto principle part, but now this part is the Litz. So I've talked about him before. He is, again, my favorite field report. Just slow, steady, progress, self-reflective, boring, by the numbers. And I would say if anybody here has ever wondered how they can run their own action plan, get their own red pill journey going, I'd say he's a good guy to follow. But he had a field report. It's a short one, just the unexpected benefit from lifting. He's like, everybody says it. You always say lift. It's at the core of it. It's the cornerstone on which all the other strategies built on. And somehow, at the start of my journey, I thought I would do other exercises and diet, and somehow it would work out for me. And I was wrong. And I realized it, and I own that shit, and now 3 months later, I can wholeheartedly say and tell anybody who's a noob here, lift. The results so far. He's still building on years of inactivity. He's made good progress mentally, physically, and the unexpected benefit is he used to be an insomniac. Now he sleeps. He hits the pillow and he sleeps. He's up before his alarm clock. He lays in bed and stretches, drinks some water. Then he's out of bed and on to his wife. I mean, he used to just be up at 2 a.m. and just lie there and start up the hamster wheel. He'd lie there agonizing and analyzing his relationship with his wife. These thoughts would dominate him nightly in his routine of slumberness, tossing and turning. Eventually he gave up, started snacking, and watching some mindless shit on TV or porn. Sleep would return about 4:30 and then be interrupted by an alarm clock. This has not happened once, so I started lifting. So I don't presume to know the scientific reason behind it, but my thinking is that my body just now shuts down to sleep, and in no way will a squeaky hamster wheel stand in the way. As I said, not very scientific, but the body must be taxed in some way to function properly. So do you lift, bro? It is funny because you get, I mean, the group of red pill guys, there's a red pill, there's a married red pill, there's a whole bunch of people made their own versions of pills, which is just some weird shit. We'll just call them like, dregs or losers, whatever. Guys that are apparently dick riding the most unattractive place on the internet. So you do the math. There's the female dating strategy. There's traditional conservatives. There's evangelical Christians that are disenfranchised by the church. You get all these groups of men. You ask 10 guys, you're going to get 20 different answers about what you should do with your life. The only thing they can agree on is that lifting weights is good. From Bronze Age Playboy to LA Playboy to dudes renting Lamborghinis to dudes having White Claw podcasts out there. Everybody can agree on it. And it's the easy answer everybody thinks is just some big Gronk activity. It's not that. There's so many things to it. Like first, if you've never held a boundary before, if you've never been had rational egoism to you, you've never been selfish. And for you, going to that gym, spending that 45 minutes, hour, whatever it is, that is all yours and nobody else's, is the first step into like healthy narcissism or like a healthy selfishness. When you're squatting, you're not answering the phone calls. You're not placating your wife. You're not doing shit for your boss. That's all you, because if you don't, you're going to drop a weight on your head. It's great. Again, the sleep thing here. Guys don't think about these other things. All they think about is, oh, you just want me to put on muscle and then it makes life better. It's like, well, it does, but it's more than that. So I like it. Everybody kind of gets there. And the only reason I'm making this such a big part of this is because you would not believe how many guys argue, oh yeah, I lift all the time. Oh yeah, what do you lift? Well, I cycle on the weekends and I play squash. And it's like, no, we said lift. We didn't say exercise. We didn't say sport. We said lift. It has to be lifting. Again, and you can make it sound as fluffy or as not fluffy or as, whatever you want to make it sound like, as long as you're doing it. That's all that matters. Just remember, lift. So the last part, the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. This is where we're going to get into the quote from Jack Ten of Hearts, where he kind of breaks down what's wrong with that guy's mental models. Again, great takedowns because he always spends an inordinate amount of time on losers who really don't want to win. They just want to be coddled. So it's a nice little gem here where you can see somebody who's a complete fuck up. and then you can see exactly why and what he can do about it. And if you're lucky, you can see some reflections of your failures in there, and you can make the better mistakes or better choices. So in this one, Jack's like, okay, what's exactly the problem here? Are you unfamiliar with lifting that you think doing a high-impact strength training program is going to turn you into Dwayne Johnson overnight? There's virtually no physical movement that's not augmented by strength training. A lot of strength gains are actually your CNS, your central nervous system, getting more efficient at coordinating your muscles. A lot of hard gainers, and I'm one of them, say stuff like, yeah, I was a total rat during the summer. I didn't get huge, but I got a lot stronger. Now, if you're actually skinny, adding significant lean body mass requires you to consume more calories than you burn. It's literally physics. Unless you eat at a caloric surplus, you won't gain mass. And where would that mass come from if you were burning those calories? He's like, I don't think anybody at the Married Red Pill advocates the bulk and cut, that 80s thing, right? Where you eat dirty and then you eat clean and you try and bulk up and lose it. A lot of skinny guys have that issue where they don't want to lose their definition of their ribs. He's like, most guys come to the Married Red Pill as fat asses who are never below 20% body fat since puberty, which is why they describe their progress as a bin lifting for 3 months, lost 40 pounds. A few guys come in here skinny fat, so lifting will get them some muscle definition and make them stop looking like an emaciated heroin addict with a pot belly. But if you describe yourself as pretty fit, 150 pounds and 17% body fat, you can't tell me your wife wouldn't think you were sexier at 160 pounds and 11% body fat. That's roughly 20 pounds of lean muscle and some fat loss, which makes you go from John Hamm at the beach, the dad bod look, to Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Your net weight is only 10 pounds more, but you'll have a very different body, which will become readily apparent to anybody if you upgrade your wardrobe as well, yet not so different that your wife or anybody who prefers lean guys will be turned off. They will probably be very turned on. Now, some women will say, I don't like guys who look too ripped, and yeah, a bodybuilder who cuts down to 6% in competition day, has pictures taken in ideal lighting while flexing constantly, has those photo lighting enhanced in post, they look kind of ridiculous. But that same guy walking into a pool party would have every woman staring at him. He would look great, but a lot more normal. So lean gaining 15 pounds of muscle will take at least 6 months if you're 100% disciplined, closer to a year if you can only be disciplined about your diet and strength routine 80% of the time. If you think a couple protein shakes and reps on the bench will turn you into JJ Watt, that's not really how it works. And Jack says, I do outdoor activities too, and strength training only helps. My individual movements are stronger, and you'll probably find a way to be less injury prone and flexible. For the purposes of hiking or whatever, it forces you to lug around your own body. If you focus on strengthening your shoulders and lats, those gains will more than offset whatever mass you add, which, like I said, probably won't be much until you start tracking your diet as well. And if you're really that worried about it, hit the gym for a month and don't change your diet. I bet you'll notice some differences in definition when you look in the mirror, but your weight on the scale will be +2 or -2 from what it normally is. He's like, you should even lift, bro. So when I'm talking here about the Pareto principle, you got to remember, you ever seen that old MGTOW comic where they say women only notice the chads, like they don't actually see the average guy, they're just invisible to them? I'm sure you've seen it. It's, God knows, it was plastered around everywhere where guys were saying, woe is me, thottery has killed men. There's some truth to that. I think it was Alt-Mate Cat brought it up later, but I mean, you can paraphrase it pretty easy. It was just, when women say they don't like a guy who's too muscular, as a guy, you think, well, who are all the guys I know? And who's the muscular one? And they think, like, that guy's muscular. He's too muscular. Girl doesn't see all those average schlubs. What's the thing? 80% of the men are less than average attractiveness. She sees that top 20% of guys. And again, this is a limbic brain thing. They're not actively trying to disqualify men. They just, women prefer the best. Who'da thunk? And of that top 20% of guys, the half that are lean versus the half that are yoked. When she thinks yoked, when she thinks too muscular, she thinks that top 10% of the top 20%. If you're in the lean quadrant of that top 20%, it's perfectly fine. And that's what guys don't understand, is that girls have different metrics and they're not speaking the same language. It's container words. That's why I hate when girls will say, I don't like guys that are too muscular. I like guys that are lean. They don't know what the terms mean. It's very vague. It's like, I like a girl in a size 8. Well, which country? Because a size 8 in China and a size 8 in Louisiana, not even the same ballpark. It's like 100 pounds difference. Vanity sizing has ruined it for everybody. But yeah, so just remember, it's like, and I know it's simple, and I know it's grounded. You've probably covered 100 times on all these different red-pilled, laminate shit videos, but just lifting really is important. It'll stress your central nervous system, which cures your anxiety issues. It'll put you to sleep, get your sleep schedule better. It'll fix up your hormones. Yes, you'll look more attractive. You put on more muscle. And then as you start taking advantage of it, you're going to start cleaning up your diet and you'll start looking better. It's like there's 15 benefits. And the only downside is you lose that hour a day you could have spent, doing whatever it is you want to do outside of working out, which whatever. And then that's the problem. And that's why, and again, the other lesson from this, the guy just deleted his account, did one post, talked once, left, never worked out, never did nothing. He just went back to his life. It's most guys don't want to do anything. They don't want to do anything but what they're already doing. It's comfortable, and it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. It's better the book that you know the ending to, and it's a piece of shit book, but you read it every day because you know it and it's comfortable. That's way better than writing your own book that's good and has a great ending. You just haven't written it yet. Scares the hell out of guys. So yeah, just something simple. Slift. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, this one's a shorter one. I will catch you on the next one. And cheers. There we go. Aw, thank you, Andrea. Okay, so I'm going to try and record 2 or maybe even 3 of these today. We'll see what I can get out for. The merch thing's live, by the way. Hi, guys in chat. I realized I left it on unlisted at first, so it was like 5 minutes through before I switched it back to listed, so that's on me. Dreams sell, truth doesn't. Yeah, I mean, why do you think guys buy Gumroad courses when a dude's like, hey, look, my wife's hot, this Lamborghini's expensive, I used to be awesome? Everybody just buys into the dream, right? Nobody buys into reality, which it's not your fault. I mean, you guys are switched on. I would assume none of you guys are kind of fucking the dog like that, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. You guys are just fine. And if you're not fine, well, this is my way of telling you to get your shit together. Looks at the smile on my boss's face. It's outstanding. Nice. Yeah, I did this in my youthful ignorance. It's the one thing I got to admit, I had to kind of take this on faith at first because like not lifting never really occurred to me. For me personally, I just remember I was 17 and I looked one day in the mirror when I was going to go take a shower and I'm like, oh, I got to go to the gym. And I went to the gym after that and I've been working out consistently since I was 17. And the first and longest break I ever took was COVID because they closed all the gyms down. And even then I had like some little 50-pound power blocks and I tried to make it work. Even added jogging to the list. But yeah, for the most part, outside of a world-ending pandemic, yeah. But I guess a lot of guys, like it's not a pleasant experience. And I don't think it's just the discomfort of working out. I really do think it's that guys don't like the idea that they're told that they're not good enough or they could be better. Because to them, they hear it as the same thing, right? And again, there's a reason. I think it's chapter 2 in my book. It's like, you ain't shit. And that's okay. And I wholeheartedly believe guys need to accept the fact that they ain't shit. There's nothing special about you, which is the most freeing thing ever. You're not God's special child. You're not, or what do they say? We're all the same composting heap or whatever the hell it is. But I mean, there's some truth to it. Once you realize there's no expectations for you, there's nowhere else to go but up. You shed the ego. You realize, I want to get a result, and it's one of the few things that will have no detriments to it. So get in there. And again, strong lifts 5x5. If you've never lifted before, it's the idiotest proof thing ever. Why wouldn't you do it? But hey, whatever. Yeah, staving off competition anxiety is what it's all about. See, Samurai gets it too. That's what the girls like. Never let your girl dress you. Oh, I'm going to buy you some clothes. You look so cute in that. Understand, 99% of the time, it will make you look less fuckable, which will make her feel better. The problem is, anxiety is a bit of an aphrodisiac. Girls handle jealousy different than guys. So when you're jealous, they tend to do mate retention strategies. And what's a mate retention strategy? About 20 minutes on Sundays. You know what I mean? But again, it's like you shouldn't be asking your girl how to be the best man ever. Like, we already know. Like, what's the rule that single moms can't raise boys to be men? So why would you expect her to tell a husband how to improve? It's just not going to happen. She'll say what's best for her, not what's best for you. So anyways, got to cover losing fat when you're already muscular. Well, I mean, that was the health episode, 2 weeks ago with breathing through your balls? A lot of Kaiko guys really mad about that too. It's like calories, calorie out, it's all that matter. And he's like, yeah, we're dealing with the out. There's a priority in which calories leave your body. So if you eat in a better way, you can focus on the fat stuff, which turns out is the last thing to go. You suck time out of people. Leech for profit. Thank you, J Business. I appreciate the clown cat thing there. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll try to do my best though to keep you from watching in the future. I just don't have control over your impulses, so it's not my fault if my stuff is good. On this one though, I'm gonna quickly. Hey, what's up, guys? So stay on the channel. I'm gonna record a second one. I'll be right there. I'll see you guys in a minute.